Nicki Minaj seems to wake up every day finding new ways to stir things up even more. After that chaotic scene at Amfest with Erica Kirk, she thought she was ready to go after Don Lemon, but things quickly went sideways.
Nicki don't need to worry about Don. She need to be with damn Don Lemon, and Nicki Minaj need to be worried about Chris Hansen.
Because the truth that came out afterward showed this had nothing to do with Don in the first place. It was really about money, and the pressure around it kept building louder than any online drama. Sources say Nicki has been under serious stress, and that stress is causing her to snap at anyone caught in the crossfire. Many online are claiming her finances have been shaky, and one of the main reasons is her choice to stay loyal to her husband, Kenneth Petty, even when it kept making headlines. At one point, Nicki was reportedly close to losing her home after a major lawsuit tied to Kenneth, having to put down $500,000 just to hold on to it. But instead of stepping back and regrouping, Nicki stayed in the spotlight, adding fuel to the fire, which is why Hughley stepped in to remind her she has bigger issues to handle than clashing with Don Lemon. Hughley highlighted what fans were already concerned about. The situation around her husband has been draining her energy and focus, especially since she's carrying the financial load.
This is what I'll say to Nicki Minaj. I normally don't respond to things like this, but, you know, F it. I'm going to do it this time. I think Nicki Minaj has made it very clear how she feels about African Americans in this country, or I don't think she's one of them, obviously. And she should, under Trump's rules, she should be deported, because I don't think, reportedly, that she is a legal citizen here. She is undocumented. And so she has shown her disdain for African Americans. So why are you supporting her? Why are you buying her records? She's also supporting, I have lots of gay friends who love Nicki Minaj. Why are you supporting this homophobic, bigoted, ignorant?
Nicki's fans tried to spin that settlement as a win since she managed to keep her home. But deep down, it wasn't exactly a victory to celebrate. It was more like narrowly escaping a disaster. And every close call comes with its own reminder. The pressure is real, the financial stress is loud, and the cracks are starting to show. Imagine having to cover $500,000 because your husband can't handle his own legal issues. That's a heavy burden for anyone, especially someone with a career as massive as Nicki Minaj's. Kenneth runs into legal trouble, and Nicki ends up footing the bill. For someone who built an empire from scratch, that has to sting. Now, the chatter online is that she's joining forces with Erica Kirk and stepping into political circles, seemingly to help navigate the financial fallout. A move many are calling a desperate play.
Nicki Minaj's brother and his attorneys thought he would be walking out of court a free man today. Jelani Mirage was convicted last November of repeatedly raping an 11.
Watching someone with a legacy like Nicki's slide into this kind of chaos is tough. It's the sort of situation that slowly chips away at everything she's built. But Hughley argues she doesn't deserve sympathy, pointing out that these were choices she made willingly, especially by aligning herself with people connected to individuals facing legal issues. His point hit hard because it mirrored what many fans were already thinking. Her loyalty is costing her more than just money. Now, let's break down the house situation, because this is where things get complicated quickly.
Yesterday, US Weekly broke the news that Nicki Minaj's house is at risk of being seized due to a lawsuit.
Under Trump's rules, she should be deported, because I don't think, reportedly, that she is a legal citizen here. She is undocumented.
Back in 2024, Nicki was hit with a default judgment of around $500,000 tied to a lawsuit involving her husband, Kenneth Petty. The whole situation traces back to a 2019 incident in Germany while Nicki was on tour. She reportedly got into a heated exchange with a female security guard, and a male guard stepped in to try to calm things down. That guard, Thomas Widner, says he tried to intervene, but according to the lawsuit, the situation escalated after Nicki allegedly told Kenneth to step in. Thomas claims Kenneth came in from the side and struck him, causing a serious jaw injury, which eventually sparked the lawsuit. That single punch turned into years of court battles, heavy fines, and a financial storm Nicki had to absorb. And that's the part everyone keeps talking about. One overseas incident spiraled into a massive drain on her finances, a public spectacle, and a constant reminder that in this industry, every decision hits harder when the spotlight is on. Now, here's where everything really descends into chaos.
So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church in the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking, and Nikema stood up and said her piece, and then the protesters surrounded her. But this is a clandestine mission. I think they found out one of, according to them, this is according to Operation Pull-Up, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE, and so here we go.
The lawsuit named both Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty, but instead of facing it head-on, they left Germany after authorities issued an order for Kenneth related to the incident. Since neither of them appeared in court or responded to the claim, the judge ruled against them by default, setting the stage for an even bigger mess. Once the judgment was finalized, the money still hadn't been paid, and the security guard pushed the case further, asking the court to enforce payment by going after Nicki's Hidden Hills mansion. The shocking part? The judge seriously considered it, since the house had enough equity to cover the full amount. That meant the mansion was just one step away from being forced into a sale, a move that would have sent shockwaves through the industry. But then, just a day before the sale could officially start, Nicki suddenly came through with the full $500,000, halting the process entirely. The timing made it look like a last-minute emergency save, revealing that things behind the scenes were much tighter than anyone realized. Sure, she kept the house, but no one called it a clean victory. It looked more like narrowly escaping disaster in the final seconds. And that's the most embarrassing part, having to pull out $500,000, not for anything she did, but because Kenneth got caught in legal trouble he couldn't control. This should have been a wake-up call, a moment to slow down and rethink everything. A reality check on how quickly situations can spiral out of control when you're tied to the wrong people. Instead, Nicki redirected that frustration outward, targeting Don Lemon as if he were the source of her problems. It confused many, because the situation had nothing to do with him. But frustration makes people lash out, and this was one of those moments where the pressure boiled over. It all began when Don Lemon covered a protest in St. Paul Live, where activists interrupted a church service to protest U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. The demonstrators were upset because one of the church's pastors, David Easterwood, also served as an acting field director for ICE, and they wanted to make their voices heard. Don Lemon was simply doing his job as a journalist, live streaming the scene and explaining what was happening. He walked the crowd, described where protesters were gathered inside the church, and reported on how the service was disrupted. But Nicki Minaj jumped in before knowing the full story. Seeing a church involved, she assumed the worst and lashed out at Don Lemon online, sharing a photo of a horror movie doll with the caption, "Donk-sucking Lemon is disgusting. How dare you? I want that thug in jail. He would never do that to any other religion. Lock him up." Her post spread quickly, shocking many because it misrepresented what was actually happening and drew heavy backlash. Observers pointed out that marching into a place of worship, even as protest, is controversial, and journalists reporting on the event are not participants. Lemon wasn't protesting. He was documenting, explaining the scene to his audience. He pushed back strongly, emphasizing that journalism is protected under the First Amendment and that covering protests is part of his job. Don Lemon made it clear that even disruptive protests are part of news coverage, and he emphasized that he was focused on reporting, not organizing or participating. This moment sparked a major online debate about media coverage, protests, and how quickly social reactions can spread faster than the facts, especially when politics and religion are involved. All of this unfolded during a time of heightened discussions around immigration enforcement and public demonstrations across the U.S. Nicki firing off without understanding the protest, Don responding forcefully, and the online debate spiraling into a full-blown storm. What started as a live stream of a Minnesota protest turned into a national conversation about credibility, context, and who was speaking from facts versus emotion. And consider the children Nicki referenced in her earlier posts, the fear they experienced in similar situations. Her own words showed she once understood that pain. But now, some of her actions, aligning with MAGA circles, praising Donald Trump, and seemingly disregarding her earlier stances, have left fans questioning the shift in her beliefs. It's a stark contrast that left many asking serious questions about her current positions versus her past. Is Nicki truly struggling financially, or is she just saying what she needs to stay in the spotlight? On the other side, DL Hughley argues none of this should come as a surprise. In his view, Nicki has a long history of defending the wrong people. He pointed out her pattern of loyalty to individuals with serious legal issues, and he sees that same pattern reflected in her sudden embrace of MAGA circles. DL isn't the only one noting her history. Long before Kenneth entered the picture, Nicki publicly supported her brother, Nicki Minaj, who was convicted years ago for a serious crime involving a minor. While the details are graphic and not appropriate to repeat, the case was severe and led to a decades-long sentence. During the trial, Nicki and his attorneys held out hope for a different outcome, but the jury found him guilty based on the evidence. Even after the verdict, Nicki wrote a letter to the judge asking for leniency, describing Nicki as patient, gentle, genuine, giving, and selfless. That letter became a major talking point, as many felt it revealed where her true loyalties lie. For some, this suggests that the current version of Nicki isn't entirely new. It's just that the mask is slipping. Supporting someone through a liga. El battle is one thing, but defending people involved in serious wrongdoing sparks a different kind of conversation, one that doesn't fade easily. Now, the internet is buzzing. Does DL Hughley have a point that Nicki has bigger issues to deal with than Don Lemon? And what's behind her sudden pivot toward MAGA messaging? Is it desperation, driven by her husband's legal troubles and financial strain while struggling to keep delivering hits? Or is this simply who she's always been, with the industry only now seeing it clearly? Drop your thoughts below, because this conversation isn't cooling down anytime soon, and the next chapter of the story promises to shake things up even more.